Quinn, start with you after a couple of days to reflect and look back. How do you look back on both the season as a whole and then the way the series against Edmonton ended ultimately?
Yeah, it's still early and it's tough to, think about the whole year this quickly. And I'm sure in the next couple of weeks when I go home, get my feet up and to think about it some more. But obviously, really proud of the team and the steps we took this year. And it was a great season. I thought we built a lot, and I thought a lot of different guys stepped up in the playoffs, and hopefully we can carry that into next year. And obviously disappointing the way it ended, and it feels like it was so abrupt, but really proud of everything we accomplished, and I think that we'll use this as a momentum into next season.
Brock, just sort of talk us through the timeline with everything that happened with you leading up to Game 7 when you sort of realized you weren't going to be able to play and how difficult that was to go through.
So I'll just explain the whole scenario to get it over with. Took a shot Game 1 on the power play, had a bruise there. My leg was feeling fine, and then about a week later my calf started really hurting. So we got it checked out, and I had some I think a clot in one of my small veins, which wasn't an issue, so I was allowed to continue to play. And then we got another scan after Game 5 and 6. I got a scan the next morning after Game 6 and showed that there was more clotting that moved into my deep vein. And I think I wasn't expecting that going into that. I didn't really understand, so it was like an emotional morning for me, and to get told that news after you're giving all your energy with your teammates into these playoffs and really striving and pushing for the ultimate goal, to get that kind of swept out from under you, not to be out there in Game 7 with these guys that hurt. And that was pretty much the whole scenario.
Petey, I know that players don't like talking about injuries during the playoffs and while they're still playing. Did an injury have any impact on, maybe your decline in numbers late in the season and into the playoffs?
I've been playing with a bad knee since January, or it's been like a nagging injury. So the longer it went, the more pain I felt, but
Is it something that's going to require more off-season work?
No, it just needs time to heal, time to rest, then rehab as soon as I get back home again.
And Quinn, for you, same thing. I mean, it looked like Nashville did everything they could to be physical on you. Was there any more to what happened there? Were you dealing with any injuries as the playoffs went?
No, I think that at this time of the year, everyone's feeling tired or has something going on or a little soreness. But, for me, I felt good and good enough to play my best, and that's what I tried to do.
Brock, just to follow up a little bit, prognosis, any cause for concern moving forward? Is it going to impact your summer and ability to train in any way?
No, I'm on blood thinners, so I just got to be careful, if you cut yourself or hit your head. So, but no, I'm good to train and skate. Obviously just with the precautions of not really trying to hit my head or anything when I do skate.
Casey, you played in Nashville on the Friday night. You practiced on the Saturday. I remember talking to you after practice. You were in good spirits. Everything seemed pretty normal. Can you just enlighten us a little bit on the injury and the timeline there of when you knew that there was something that was going to keep you out of that Sunday game?
Yeah, in that Game 3, there was a play with like a minute and a half, 2 minutes left where I kind of fell back and caught myself on my groin. I felt a pop. The next day it didn't feel super great in practice. It was kind of like a precautionary decision, not made by me. I wanted to play through it, but since we were already down Demmer, they decided to go with Artie, and obviously Artie played great, and we came back and won that game 4. So that's kind of what happened with me, and then I was good enough to back up and practice, through the rest of the playoffs. So it was more of just like a one game, got nicked at the end of that Game 3, and then just tried to rehab it as best I could, and play through it, practice through it, and I felt fine going forward from that point.
Elias, you've long said that you want to be the absolute best that you can be, one of the best players in the NHL. What did you learn from these playoffs that will help you get there in the coming years?
Definitely has made me hungry to get back into playoffs. I believe I have something good building here, but just like on a personal level, just areas that I feel I can be better, and take those stuff into my summer training, talk to my trainers, and try to become an even better player for next year.
And Quinn, your game took a big step this last season. Do you believe that there is another step you can take this off season based on what you saw in the playoffs as well?
Yeah, I think that I believe that the work you put in the summer, you can really get a lot better than some other players that maybe don't put that work in, and over a course of a couple years that can really help your game. So I feel like this year I was able to play at a high level, and I feel like I just got to do the same thing this summer and then come back ready to go. And the next couple weeks I'll reflect and then try to enjoy some time off, and then like I said, we'll get back to work.
Quinn, you've always contended that you're as good as anybody at your position, but you've always said the playoffs are the true measure. What did you learn?
What's that?
What did you learn in the postseason? Because you've always said that's the true measure.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good question. I think just again, it's so quick and it's so abrupt. It's been 2 days. I haven't really wanted to think about hockey up to this point, to be honest. But I think that just learning how tight the game is out there, and it's obviously, I think the travel was different. Obviously, in the bubble, we didn't have to move, but I did, get an experience there with how tight it is and how physical it is, and playing the same team over and over. But I think just going into next year, I'm just going to, focus on the same things that I've always focused on, and try to, continue to get better as a player in person, and become a better leader. And I think all those things will help me and the team.
You've really made progress in the off seasons. I mean, first you wanted to improve defensively. You do 3-on-3s in the summer with your guys, but you'd only concentrate on defense, whether it was speed, angling, stick position. Then you wanted to work on your shot, and you found ways to get it through and make other moves. This was different. I mean, you were targeted in the postseason, physically, positionally. How can you train to get better at that, knowing that, you're the guy they're coming at, whether it's single, double teaming? How can you improve on that in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I liked my game in the playoffs, to be honest. I thought I played pretty solid, and, it would have been nice to pitch in a little bit more offensively, and I think the main thing would be the power play, how we struggled there at the end. But for the most part, I liked my game. I thought I was really solid defensively. Didn't give, much up. And as far as the physical abuse, I think that's just something that everyone's going to have to deal with. And for me, I think that's just continue to, be mentally tough and learn about yourself in these situations and grow from them. And like I said, continue to be a better leader and grow from an individual perspective. And then also I think that'll help me in my game and hopefully help our team.
Just a quick follow on the power play. I mean, it's kind of an embarrassment of riches. It looks so good on paper. You've always contended this is a top 5 potential power play in the league. Why did it struggle so much?
Yeah, I mean, there's some frustrations with that, and we should be better. And again, it is really, it's only been 2 days, and I haven't really thought about it too much. But as I'm sure the summer comes along, really think about different things and what we want to see on it and how we can be better at it. And I mean, it obviously is frustrating just because we should be, an elite group, and we did really well against Edmonton in the regular season on the power play, and that couldn't really transfer over to the playoffs.
We've got PJ, Thomas, Chris, and Ian, and then
Elias, just with, you mentioned the knee, you were at such a high, like you were the third star of the month for the whole league in January. When you look back at your season now, what's the takeaway for you? What are you looking at from last year or from this season for your lesson for next year?
Yeah, I don't know. Haven't thought of it that much, but there's stuff I did well, stuff I can do better. Stuff.
You guys still going?
Sorry, I asked to say again.
Just you were at such a high at the end of January, and then
Yeah.
obviously this knee problem slows you down. You look back at the season? What's the takeaway you think for you?
Just learn from what I did good, learn from what I can do better, and think us to get some experience in the playoff will only makes us want to get back there again. So I know what I need to work on, and but I think as a whole team, it's good we got a playoff experience. Obviously, we would love to keep playing, but yeah, I'm excited for what's ahead.
And then Brock, your season was remarkable, given everything. How do you look at this season? How do you repeat this season next year?
I honestly just think you have to have the same mindset. Like, you got to feel that hunger and that drive, and that starts in the summer. Huggy talked about it. It takes a lot of hard work and focus, and personally, I didn't think I was great the second half of the year, and I think that's kind of the next step for me is being a little more consistent. And that's I still haven't thought about it a ton. Just in my short time of reflection, I've thought about it, but there's definitely ways to take care of your body or whatever to make sure you don't get mentally tired or whatever in that time. But I think I'm really driven, especially getting this taste with these guys in the playoffs. We were right there. We were so close, and I think that's really exciting, and that's going to continue to push me this summer.
Brock, there's. Oh, sorry. I had the order wrong.
Quinn, just wanted to ask, it's your first full season with Rick talking behind the bench. We hear from him every day, but I'm curious, what are some of the things that he's brought to the players that maybe we don't talk about or we don't see now that you've had him for a full year?
Yeah, obviously, first off, really happy for him that with the award he won yesterday, it's incredibly hard to win, and he deserves it. But I think he just the systems and consistency, or I guess you could say, that he brought in, and with the systems that everyone knew what their job was, and he kept everyone accountable on that side. And then from a human relationship side, he was just someone that you could always talk to, and very approachable, and has been in your shoes, and has that open door policy. So I think with the structure and the person he is, I say those are the two things that are very rare that sometimes a lot of other people aren't lucky enough to have.
Elias, considering this season, the speculation around your contract, that deal getting done, the injury that you sustained midway through, going into a sort of quieter summer, how much do you welcome that? How can you use that for fuel next season?
Yeah, it will be nice to get a break from everything. Obviously, it's been a very noisy season in terms of contracts and how shit I've been the last 3 months, you guys said. So it'll be nice to just get a break from that, but I'm just excited to get a little break here and then get back on the horse again, train hard, and come in best shape possible for next season.
And then, can I ask one more? Perfect. I just want to ask Brock, there's been a lot of talk, obviously, about your goal-scoring totals, but over the years, you've been able to work on your defensive game. You had a big defensive bounce back this season, the work at the net front, the deflections, and we almost sort of saw it all come together in the playoffs before your absence in Game 7. When you think about the way you were able to elevate your game, is there something you can take from that in terms of the process that you put into making yourself a more well-rounded player?
Yeah, I think it just proves to myself that I think there's another level there, and I know at least in my line we took a ton of pride in when we were playing against Connor and in the playoffs to try and shut him down, and even top lines throughout the year. And it's a role I really haven't had before, and I try to embrace it as best as I could, and just feel that that we can go out there and we can shut down those top guys. I think it gives a lot to my confidence, and it's something that I definitely think I can build off of for next year.
Last one for Brock. If I can take you back between 6 and 7, you've been through a lot in your personal life for perspective, but in terms of just hockey and injuries, is that the hardest news you've had about missing a game, and it turns out to be a 1-goal game? Do you feel like you could have made a difference?
Of course I feel I can make a difference, especially like talk about the defensive game. I thought we were doing a pretty good job on Connor for most of the series, and obviously home ice, and you can get your line against them or whatever, but I'm crushed. Like I wish I could have been out there with the guys, and obviously a 1-goal game. I felt that of course I'm sitting there and saying, I could have scored in this game. You never know what would have happened if I played, but I would have done anything to be out there. And I asked if I could play and try and push them, but obviously the risks are too big, and I had to look, protect my future, and don't want health issues moving forward.